Now, you know it's only going to be sunny because she's here. Outnumbered. I'm here as Faulkner. Here with my co-host, Emily Campagno. Also here, Cheryl Casoni and Janice Dean.
Oh, my goodness.
There she is.
This is the first time, too.
Oh, this is the first time? You don't think I know that? I've been begging for years.
Long-time listener.
I love it. And also bringing us some sunny weather today. Todd Pyro.
Thank you, guys.
Yay.
Absolutely. I threw you a bone. It's really all about her.
I appreciate
it.
We know.
All right, let's start with the newest developments in President Biden's document scandal. The Wall Street Journal is reporting the Department of Justice allowed Biden's lawyers to search for classified documents in separate locations without any security clearances and without the FBI oversight. Yeah, FBI, you can go stand over there. We know the DOJ was at Biden's Delaware home now. We don't know how long. Did they observe the searches? Were they in the kitchen drinking coffee, talking to everybody else? Perhaps more importantly, why did the president's attorneys get to search for his own records? There are so many unanswered questions, and Republican lawmakers are determined to get the answers.
I'm still dying to know why $1,000 an hour high-priced attorneys were cleaning out Biden's office in the first place after 5 years of those documents sitting there. So what drove that? And there's a lot of talk, was it subpoenas from the Hunter Biden investigation? And the White House was too nervous to have a federal agent at least alongside the attorneys because remember, anything else they see that could be construed as criminal activity. We're not seeing any appropriate firewall between what's representing him personally and personal misconduct that he may have conducted in the years between his vice presidency and presidency, and then now as president, and that's an abuse of taxpayer dollars.
Look, Congressman Walsh there, dropping in new information and new questions. Janice, what about those subpoenas in the Hunter Biden investigation?
Well, I think you have to be equally outraged about Trump having classified documents and Biden. I'm really glad the mainstream media is actually talking about it with President Biden. And I saw his smirk earlier on today when the reporters were asking questions, and that really bothered me. Like, does he not think that this is serious? He certainly thought it was serious when Trump had classified documents. So I think there's more to learn, obviously. I'm offended that we didn't find this out before the election.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. It wouldn't have helped. So you do what you do. Let's talk about those attorneys and the Hunter Biden investigation, Emily. Because when you put those two things together, it is troubling. Think about it for just a second. You and I wouldn't get to dodge the DOJ and the FBI. Trump certainly didn't. You started right where I'm going to go, Janice. The former president did. He got a raid. But this president gets, no, we're not going to bring in the FBI. No, you guys don't need clearances. So what you're telling me is that anybody who touched those documents under the purview of this president wasn't held to the same standards as anybody else would be for classified documents. You need a clearance.
Right. Are they somehow protected? There's so many questions, I think, that keep being raised every day, and including that dovetailing in with the timeline. So why were the president's attorneys allowed to search those documents after a special counsel was named? Usually when special counsels are assigned, when procedures commence, that means everything is put on pause. That means there's a caution tape put around the lot, right? And everyone is hands off. Here it seemed as if business went on for normal, at a minimum from November 2nd to January 11th. And it begs the question how many other people had access to the documents. What are exactly inside of them? Did Hunter, to that investigation multi-thread point as well, there seems to be a lot of interest in those documents for various reasons, including the conflict of interest. And I have to point out as well, you know, the photo that we put in the intro where it shows Biden holding that code, that right there, that code
it says
folder.
Classified documents
Exactly.
on it.
And Jillian Turner points out, she said, you know, it's called a cover sheet. She says it's used to shield hard copies of classified documents when officials need to tote them around. She said it's worth noting, technically, if officials should not have these documents on their person outside of a secured room. If an official who's not the president, if he or she was photographed carrying that, then they would be reprimanded and or punished as it violates national security policy. We know per the Attorney General, that the home certainly wasn't a secure facility. That right there is indicative of the president's cavalier approach to it. I've spoken with people who worked closely with him. They said, yeah, oh, that's him across the board. He left things laying around all the time. And the question then that begs is,
cracking up at the end of the
literally, you look at the garage too, the mess that's in the garage. There's classified documents in the garage with the mess.
And the point is that if a lower Navy sailor is in jail right now for taking a photo, for doing something that breaks the law, that breaks national security policy, why is our president not even called out?
Lose the smirk. Time to lose the smirk, President Biden. I saw that as well, and I did notice that smirk. But I'm glad you brought up Hunter Biden, because that's what really bothers me about this whole thing. Hunter Biden was living in that Delaware home with the Corvette and box of documents just laying around.
Paying $50 grand a month in rent, allegedly.
Allegedly. And getting paid millions for doing Lord knows what for China and for Ukrainian companies where he had absolutely no resume experience to be on the boards of Burisma, for example. But that's what bothers me the most, that cavalier attitude and letting that in that home with Hunter Biden. Bo lived there as well, to be fair. But still, Hunter Biden had no problem using his name for influence, using his name to make money, using his name to get himself appointed to places that he never should have been. And that's what I think what bothers me. And we're not talking about that, I think, enough.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned posthumously his other son, Bo. There's not an investigation into anything that he did. But Hunter Biden is like, I don't know, he's like a magnet for it all. And then he must love the look of himself with, you know, ill repute women and drugs and everything else that's rolled out on YouTube, hoping that he's better now.
That $50K a month is quite a return on investment for the property purchase price. It begs the question, is it $50K for the big guy? I mean, that's a question so many of us are asking. Is that where the big guy stuff comes in? But there's a couple of points here that really stand out to me. On this FBI front, we know the FBI has a tremendous skill set of raiding presidents' homes. They were able to do so with regard to President Trump. You'd think that the DOJ, when they're faced with a similar situation involving documents in a president, would use that same skill set to raid Joe Biden. That clearly was not the case. When it comes to the documents themselves, you and I both know this, Emily, as lawyers. As you get further and further in your career and your billable hour rate rises, I'm doing a thing here, your time in documents, in boxes, decreases. Some low-level attorney does that for you, some clerk, some paralegal. It is fascinating in this case why these top-level attorneys were doing the on-the-ground document work. That is a red flag to me that this is something out of the ordinary. This is not normal. I don't know one partner at a big New York law firm behind us that is ever playing in the documents. That's a clerk's job.
Maybe this is a dumb question, but who should have been there in your legal opinion?
The FBI.
Okay, just the
FBI should have been there. And one quick question about the documents, because we know a little bit about the ones that were found at the Penn Biden Center. Biden, you were talking about name recognition, $950,000 to use his name. So at the Penn Biden Center, some of them were TS, they were top secret, and intelligence papers on those governments that you mentioned, or those countries, Ukraine, China. So what does all of that mean when you hire attorneys, very expensive attorneys, to go collect the papers? You're probably not ignorant to the facts about what's in those boxes.
I think you know, around the time that these searches were done, that the heat on Hunter is really picking up, and you want to know what is out there potentially that could hurt Hunter with regard to a Ukraine, with regard to a China. And that's why you're hiring the top-level attorneys to go find out what the information is in order to prepare a defense.
But remember, in the Penn Biden Center, that was in a document marked personal, along with both funeral arrangement papers.
Right.
Why were these classified top secret documents that we know those did pertain to Ukraine
wrapped like that?
How did they, and how did they even make it to the center in the first place? And what triggered all of this? We always say, who stands to benefit? I think the biggest question of all is, why now? Because they've been sitting there, rotting there, risking our national security for a lot of years. And
when
all
do
of a
we
sudden
hear
now
from former President Obama? We heard from his ethics advisor, former ethics advisor. We quoted him last hour. I'm big on what the former president's going to say, because if he didn't know that these papers were taken, ones that he could have declassified himself because he was president, you know, this messes with his legacy. I don't know how you stay silent.
I'm glad you mentioned Obama, because keep in mind, If Obama does the magical waving of the declassification wand to these Biden documents, boy, doesn't that just set the precedent for Trump to say, I did the exact same thing that Obama did. We're both presidents. None of this stuff is now classified. Both of us are off the hook. Obama's in a really tough spot if he tries to help out Joe Biden.
And that's a different Trump that you might face as Biden 2 years from now. Just saying. Anyway.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.